Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Now, as you can see from the title, today we're talking about the logistics of how you can possibly get from where you are to South Korea if you are planning to move here for a long-term residency, anything longer than a 90-day tourist visa. Before we start, I want to say don't forget to subscribe to this channel because I always have fun things and some educational videos and that you might want to check out. So please subscribe. It would mean the world. And also, like the video, help me get back into the algorithm. I would really appreciate it. And then comment something. You don't have to comment about the video. You can comment about anything and I would be happy to see it. But let's get into the video. You might have heard a couple already if you've been doing some research, but you can also be completely new and that is totally fine. I'm gonna break down the types of visas that most foreigners get when they wanna move here to South Korea. The first visa and the most popular is the E2 visa, and that is the English teaching visa. There are two ways to go about this. Essentially, there's the public school system, which is EPIC, and there's the private school Hagwon system, which is for individualized privatized institutions. What you will need for both of them is a bachelor's degree. How to apply are completely different things when it comes to the two of them. I have tons of videos on how to apply through the EPIC program and also tons of videos on Hagwon application processes. You will need different documents and applications for both, so please go watch those videos if you are interested. The next visa, and the one I'm actually currently on, is called an E6 visa. This is an entertainer visa. This visa is for anyone looking for work within front-facing camera jobs. So if you're a model, if you're a dancer, if you're a singer or an actor, those are the types of jobs that you can do while on this visa. Keep in mind that your visa you can only do within your industry. So if you're on this visa, you can't just all of a sudden try to get a part-time job at a cafe or something. You can't work in an office. Like, it doesn't work that way. You can only stick within the industry. For this visa, you will need a sponsorship from a Korean entertainment agency, and that needs to be submitted by you to the agency, and then the agency needs to apply for your visa. I've also made tons of videos on this in detail, so please go look those up if you are curious about how to apply for this specific visa. I would say the most important thing is if you do not yet have a portfolio for the type of work that you want to do, I would definitely start building one now. It doesn't work to just come here and then start building your portfolio because the Ministry of Culture actually needs your portfolio from the work that you've currently been doing in order to accept your visa, and they've become very strict, especially these past few recent years, and I know tons of people that have actually been denied. So what my best advice is to build your portfolio in your home country first for what you're trying to do before you apply for one in South Korea. But again, I have a video on that. Please go watch it. The next one is the E7 visa. This is for office workers, and this is applied directly via the company that you want to work for. There are different categories within the E7 visa in terms of what type of office work. You will need to apply directly to Korean companies. Whether you need Korean level speaking and writing will depend on the field that you're applying within. So I know a lot of people who are doing kind of like data and computer and IT, they don't necessarily need Korean speaking skills because they're already in a very specialized field. But if you're working within a regular company office setting where you're doing something like marketing, then the company will most likely require someone who has a certain level of Korean speaking. The latest visa, developed especially for expats, if you've not already heard, is the digital Nomad visa that has finally come to South Korea. This is for anyone self-employed or working for a foreign company that is based abroad. So not a foreign company that is branched in Korea. That would be the E7 visa. This is if your company is based abroad and you simply just want to live in Korea while you are working outside of it. You need to be 18 or older. You need to be making a salary that is double Korea's gross national income per capita. And for 2023, that was $64,000. So if you have a salary of over $64,000 and you've been with your company for over a year and you're over the age of 18, you do qualify for this visa. Also, in addition, if you have a spouse or children, they can come along on your visa as well. However, you will not be applicable to work within Korea, so you cannot generate income while you are here. So be careful of that. Another visa that is super common here that I've seen a lot of people on and a lot of my friends are actually on right now is the H1 visa, and that is the working holiday visa. This visa is good for 1 year. It is not renewable, however, though. So if you want to stay longer, you're going to need to figure out other options while you're here on the H1. But the H1 essentially allows you to do kind of unspecialized work while on this visa. So you're capable of being a babysitter, being a live-in nanny, working at a bar, working at a cafe, things of that nature. You can do all under this visa. but again, not renewable, only good for 1 year, and you have to be between the ages of 18 to 30. There's also only certain countries that are eligible for this visa because that's just how it is. These are the countries that are qualified to apply for the H1 visa. If you're not on this list, then you're gonna need to look for another alternative. You also need to have at least 3 million Korean won in your current bank account before you apply. And then you need to have proof of that bank account to show in your application process. And that's also good for you because honestly, when you first come, you're gonna need money to set up everything. So obviously that's just to have a nice cushion to make sure you don't come here completely unprepared. The next visa, and one that is probably the easiest to get in my opinion, is the student visa, which is the D2 and the D4. One is a student visa, one is a student exchange visa. It just depends on the program that you're applying for, essentially. The visa basically allows you to study in Korea for 6 months to 2 years, depending on your program. You will need at least a high school diploma, so keep that in mind, but you do not need a bachelor's, and it's pretty open in terms of everything else. The catch is that you're obviously going to be paying for everything out of pocket in terms of the program, your accommodation, your food, depending on your program. But after 6 months, you can apply through the Korean Immigration Office for a part-time permit in order to work a part-time job of maximum 25 hours a week. And you need to have at least topic 2 and 90% attendance from your classes. The next one, which is both easy and also very difficult, is the F2 spousal visa. So if you are married to a Korean citizen or permanent resident of Korea, you and your children under 18 would then qualify under this visa as well. Now you obviously need to stay married throughout the entirety while you're on this visa, knock on wood. If you do get divorced, you are no longer applicable for this visa and you would need to find other means of staying in the country. I only say this just so it's clear. Those are probably the most common and most feasible visas to get in order to get long-term residency here in South Korea. Now, again, research is key. I kind of gave a broad overview, but again, every country has different regulations. The process will have a lot of documents and a lot of paperwork to be done. Some of them require background checks, XYZ. But again, for anything specific regarding the E2 visa, for EPIC or Hagwons, for anything regarding the E6 visa, regarding entertainment, I do have videos already up for that. Another option is to get help from a professional because again, there is a lot of paperwork and it's definitely a lot harder when you're not in the country to do it. Definitely possible, but again, a little bit difficult. So you can always seek professional help. There are services that do that for a fee. And there's also a lot of services online for contacting the immigration office directly and asking these questions and then contacting the offices in your home country as well to get all the answers. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so I am not specialized in the field, but I wanted to give everyone kind of the base information to help them jumpstart the process. The most important thing also to keep in mind is that patience is a virtue when it comes to visa processing. It takes months, guys. It can take so long and it does take money up front because you're paying for a lot of the processing fees, you're paying for the documents that you need to get done, the background checks, the medical checks, the health insurance that you might need to take out depending on your visa. So there are definitely fees and time that you will need to commit to this process. I would say generally like 3 months is probably the average for certain visas. So keep that in mind. And visa processes and visa applications can always change. For example, the digital Nomad visa, 64,000 is the rate right now, but that could change depending on the per capita of South Korea this year. So always, make sure you are finiting anything in terms of the details for your specific visa and just making sure you're up ahead on all the latest news regarding it because it's South Korea, so things change all the time. But again, hopefully this gave a really thorough overview in terms of what types of visas you can be looking into. You might have thought you were going to do one visa, but find out you're qualified for another. So hopefully this video is helpful. Again, if you have any specific questions that I can help with, I would be more than happy to help in the comments, but I'm not an immigration lawyer, so I can only help so far. Again, you're gonna have to do most of the footwork yourself. These are all the visas you can get if you're seeking long-term residency here in South Korea. I hope that helps. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.